So we're back. So I've just been on the pause screen for a couple of minutes while I got my other half to hold the phone for me, because trying to play a game and hold a phone, well, let's say I don't have enough hands. So as you can see, I've got the Last of Us loaded up, and we're now in a gameplay section. At the moment the CPU is at 64 degrees and the GPU is at 62, which, you know, for all intents and purposes is pretty damn good for the PS3, especially the Slim Edition, because let's face it, the heatsink inside and the airflow is, I mean, the heatsink's small, you know, in comparison to a typical PC heatsink, so it's not very efficient, and then you have a very tight confined space, which never helps. So I'm just doing a quick walkthrough. The Last of Us is probably one of the more graphically intensive games on the PS3. There are others like it. I hear people say God of War 3 or God of War is just as intensive. So you could always test that out as well. But yeah, as you can see here, so the phone's at 36%, so still, you know, fairly quiet in comparison to what it would have been without the IHS removal and repaste done. This already, my PS3 Slim, my last one, before I killed it, would have been screaming, virtually lifting off, to be honest. As you can see, the CPU and GPU, they stay fairly in line with each other with respects to temperatures, so, you know, a 2-degree difference. I've also seen it where it's absolutely 100% equal, so you can tell that the repaste has been done well. Originally, when I did the repaste on mine, before I did the IHS, I actually took the heatsink off and simply replaced the thermal paste between IHS and the heatsink itself, which had absolutely no difference. It was only after I did a little bit of research and found that because the thermal paste between the IHS and the dies of the CPU and GPU virtually dries up into nothing, you end up with no meaningful contact. So even though I'd replaced the thermal paste on top of the IHS, I was still seeing temperatures of 75 and had a screaming PlayStation. Again, what I'll do in the thread is I'll link to all the resources, to the NSC Modz YouTube and his relevant videos. And yeah, I have to say, you know, so far as guides wise, his are the best on YouTube that I found. I did plenty of searching to see if I could find you know, a thorough guide, because you need them to be thorough, especially when you're messing about with a piece of technology that you haven't messed about with, because they are all different. I've done plenty of PC modding and customizations and messing around with those, but the PS3, well, for all intents and purposes, is a computer, is different. So yeah, I can't recommend them enough. Very thorough guides, great videos, lovely chap to work with, communicates very well, keeps you up to date 100% of the way. In my experience, there were no quiet periods where, you know, you're sat wondering, well, what's going on. He's very, very on the ball. So as I said, I'll link to all his resources and give you all the information that you guys need if you want to get hold of him and to get the mod done. The good thing was when I specified to him that I needed this PS3, I also needed it so that it was one which could have the custom firmware put on, and of course he obliged. And again, with the custom firmware, Sky's the limit with the PS3. You can copy the games to the hard drive that you've got. You can play retro games, NES games, because you can get emulators for it. You can control the fan speeds, all sorts, really. If I was to sit here and list everything that you could do, I'd be here for a very long time. So I suggest that you check out the Rebug custom firmware for the PlayStation 3. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I think we've had probably a relative enough amount of gameplay to get a good indicator that at load you're seeing the CPU, 64, 65 degrees as it is now, the GPU 2 degrees behind at 63, and the fan's only at 39%. And as I say, this is probably one of the more graphically demanding games on the PS3, so to be honest, if you was to put in some of the other games, it'd probably run even cooler. But this is a good benchmark, at least, for the PS3 with the mod. So I'll leave it there, guys, and yeah, thanks for watching.